I should preface this video by saying one of my favorite artists are the Suicide Boys. I enjoy their music and pretty much their whole aesthetic. That being said, I wouldn't wish suicide on even my worst enemy. As I've mentioned in a previous video, male suicide is something I feel is the worst of the issues men have to face, yet nobody's talking about it. Everyone seems to be focused on marriage, as if relationships with women get first priority when it comes to fixing men's issues. In terms of men's issues, I don't think it's far-fetched to say that we should be focusing on keeping ourselves alive before we focus on where we can stick our dicks. That being said, the reason I decided to discuss the black pill, forced loneliness, TFM, or forced celibacy guys, they have a lot of acronyms like gym cells and whatnot, so we'll just stick to what they have in common, which is the celibacy thing. But these men are not violent. These men are not monsters. Hell, they're not even bad people. They're just guys who can't get laid. Yet for some reason, it's perfectly fine for other men's groups to shun them from their ranks, as if they don't deserve our camaraderie. Of course, this fuels their loneliness even more and forces them to stick to their echo chamber forms and have no way out. This is why some of them get trapped in that nihilistic mindset and sometimes end up hurting or even killing themselves. Suicide is so common within their community, they coined the term "sui fuel," which absolutely boggled my mind when I first read it. I think the reason I want to help these guys so much is because of my brutal upbringing. My father died when I was relatively young, and my mother was extremely abusive, both physically and verbally. I believe this contributed to my general lack of empathy towards women, but also gave me a heightened sense of empathy towards men, and that most other men don't share. Most other men would stab their best friend in the back for a woman if she offered him sex. Most of these guys want companionship, but after taking the red pill, they learn what women want, and were thus forced to follow it up with the black pill, that they have little to no traits that are desirable to a woman. They are left depressed and broken because their whole life they have been told that women are the reason they should pursue anything. Why do well in school? So you can get a good job. Why get a good job? So you can attract a good woman and have a family. Why have a family? Well, obviously, because it's the best thing a man can do with his life. They bought this lie hook, line, and sinker, so when the rug is pulled from underneath them, it reveals a pit of quicksand that pulls them further into the clutches of depression. The more fortunate ones find solace in their forums, but a select few believe that life is not worth living if nobody will ever love them. Such a sad state of affairs for them, and I mean that sincerely. Like I said, I genuinely empathize with these men. I genuinely want to help them. So let me put my money where my mouth is and offer some suggestions. But before I begin, this will not be the typical "just hit the gym, bro, and use Tinder, bro" spiel. I have no interest in shaming any of you because frankly, that's just borderline retarded. It never works and it only makes the opposing parties cling to their ideologies even more. Instead, I will offer some suggestions about your mindset. Things you can do to at least ameliorate a bit of your pain. Now, without further ado, let's begin. Number 1, find what you enjoy and try to get really good at it. I don't care what it is. It could be a video game, writing, dancing, whatever. My only stipulation is that it cannot be a self-destructive action. For example, you could be really good at eating Skittles, but consistently eating those will damage yourself and defeat the point of this whole video. If you feel so inclined, you can pick something you're really bad at, but enjoy and want to improve in. The reason why you would do this is to make the productive part of your brain give you positive feedback. Without getting too sciencey, your brain has an intrinsic system for rewarding the completion of tasks. If you are depressed, one of the ways you can alleviate it a bit is to find something worthwhile to lift you out of the depression. In my case, I decided to draw. I sucked at drawing and still suck at drawing. In fact, I don't even draw anymore. I drew daily for 3 or 4 months and then just stopped. It wasn't giving me any positive feedback anymore, and it started to feel like a chore, so I just cut it out and replaced it with reading. You have to keep that productive part of your brain busy, otherwise it will wreak havoc on your mental state. 2. Understand that companionship comes in many different forms. You do not need a woman to feel companionship. If you don't care about sex, then you can just get a dog. It might be shy at first, but over time it will warm up to you and be the best and loyal friend that you've ever had. Not only that, it will never sell you out for some roasty, so it already surpasses a majority of the simps out there. If you want human companionship, then simply go to a public place and start chatting. It helps if you are all there for a shared reason. I overcame a bit of social anxiety through card games. I would play Magic the Gathering at card shops every now and then for Friday Night Magic, and it slowly taught me the ins and outs of social interactions, and I got to make a lot of friends in the process. If nobody wants to be around you, then try to make the conversation about them. People love talking about themselves. The trick is that you get them to talk about themselves until they find or say something that resonates with you and that you can talk about as well. And that is how you foster a quality conversation. It'll take practice, and I'm pretty sure most of you are out of patience since you have probably been given so much bad advice in the past. But trust me, it is worth it if you desire company that much. 3. Take women off the pedestal. The last and probably most useful tip I can give is to slowly shift away from your desire for female validation. If you are red-pilled, then you already know women's opinions are fickle and shift depending on the phases of the moon. I don't think it is a good idea to base your value on something that is so erratic. It is like putting your life savings into a penny stock. Sure, there is a possibility for you to get insane returns, like a Chad, but more often than not, you will just end up losing large sums of money. They are not worth the investment, so don't even bother with their value system. Instead, try to forge your own metrics with which to evaluate yourself. Paradoxically, you will find that when you avoid the opinion of others, they will have a higher image of you precisely because you don't put up with their foolish desires. That's about all I wanted to say. I don't want the black pill dudes to feel like their life has no meaning or that they don't fit in anywhere in the manosphere simply because they're lonely. I'm of the firm belief that every man has something to offer the world. Just because you aren't filling her pre-owned roast beef, it doesn't mean that you don't deserve happiness. Life is so much more than that, so please don't give up hope. Also, if my evaluation of the black pill is inaccurate, don't hesitate to let me know. I'll be the first to admit I'm not too well read on their community. I can only stomach so much before the apparent sadness started messing with me. I can only imagine what the regulars deal with. Maybe they're immune to it by now, who knows. But yeah, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, all that jazz. And as always, stay prosperous.